Welcome to week 30 of Weekly Reads, where I share what I'm currently reading. I go throughout the week and I give you reviews and kind of where I'm at, my thoughts, and then at the end of the week, we recap and talk about all the books I'm currently reading again. I currently have 5 books going. 2 of them are ones we talk about every single week, and that is the Gratitude Journal and the Bible. Both of these are year-long projects. The Gratitude Journal, I've definitely missed days and haven't caught up, and so I am 25% of the way through that. And in the Bible, I am, I think, 50-60% of the way through. I am on track to finish by the end of the year. The ebook that I'm 81% of the way through is Can't Get Enough by Kennedy Ryan. This is the 3rd book in the Skyland series, and our female main character is Hendrix, and our male main character is Maverick. Maverick has a lot of money, but he just broke up with his girlfriend. It's been a long time coming, and so the media thinks they just broke up, but in reality, things have been going on. And so Hendrix comes into the picture when they've already broken up, but things get a little twisted. Hendrix's mom also has Alzheimer's, and someone very close to Maverick had Alzheimer's, and so they kind of bond over that. They bond over Hendrix's work with Black-owned businesses. So yes, I don't know how I feel about their romance. I like them as characters. I think they're fine, but I don't feel for their romance. I don't know. I'm just not connecting to the romance right now. We will see as the last 20-ish% comes along if that changes. The audiobook that I'm listening to is Written in My Own Blood by Gabaldon. This is the 8th book in the Outlander series. It is very hard to describe what these books are about if you have not read the previous book, because it does bring up a lot of information and characters. And like I said, this is the 8th book. These books are 1,000+ pages, and so there is a lot that happens in these books. Yes, I am 32% of the way through though. The last book that was recently added is Breaking Free by Beth. This is a devotional that I read with my Bible time. And about 10% in, I'm liking it. I picked the chapter form version, and so as I said, I've liked that a little bit more because I can stop and start when I feel like it, and I feel like the chapters are pretty short, so that gives me lots of good stopping points if I want to anyways. That is the start of week 30. I will say I made 3 goals for July. The first one was read 2 books off the Gilmore Girls book list. I've done that. My second one was to finish up 5 series. I think I finished up 3, but Skyland is the end of a series, so there's that. And then the other goal was to read 2 books off the 25 books I want to read in 2025, and I've read none of them. So I need to finish off some series and read the 25 books I want to read in 2025, at least one of them. Since I don't rent them from my library, they're not a priority, and the list of my 25 books I want to read in 2025 is in a different section of my notebook than like my series. So I just feel like out of sight, out of mind sometimes. And then the end of the month just creeps up on me. But it's fine. Those are goals I just set for myself. I just love meeting goals, so I think it's fun to make them until it's the end of the month. Then it's a little stressful. Anyways, welcome to week 30.
Good morning. We're going to give a book update. Today is Thursday, and it's the last day of August. And so if you remember, I had 3 goals for the month of August. The first one was to finish 2 books off the Gilmore Girls book list. I had done that. And then the second goal was to read 2 books off the 25 books I want to read in 2025. And I had read none of them to start the week. And I also had a goal of finishing up 5 series, and I had finished up 2. To say I was behind was an understatement, but let's see how much progress I've made over the last couple of days. I'm so excited to share it with you. First of all, something that's not related at the moment is I'm 48% of the way through Written in My Heart's Own Blood. This is the 8th book in the Outlander series. This is my audiobook. I will not be finishing this series this month, but I'm really enjoying the audiobook. Now we're gonna talk about the 4 ebooks I finished in the last 2 days-ish. And the first one was Can't Get Enough by Kennedy Ryan. This is the 3rd book in the Skyland series, so it finished off that series. It's followed a group of friends, and in this book we're following Hendrix. She's been the rich aunt to her friends and doesn't want kids, but that doesn't necessarily mean she doesn't want a partner in love. And so she meets Maverick. Maverick is just getting out of a long-term relationship, and it's very much instant love. As I've said, it reminds me of Say You'll Remember Me. There is definitely some instant love. The characters and their personalities completely different, but that aspect, there's long distance, and there's also a mother with dementia. Just make me think of that. And I think I compared it the whole entire time, and I liked Say You'll Remember Me better than Can't Get Enough. I liked getting back into the Skyland world and seeing all of the people, and both their characters were older, and so they had some different expectations and life things going on, but also with it, there was one conflict that I didn't like because they were older. I feel like they could have handled it differently. But also, like, Say You Remember Me, Maverick is if he wanted to, he would kind of guy, very similar to Say You'll Remember Me. So there's definitely some crossovers for me, and I think I just had read Say You'll Remember Me, so that's probably why it's so obvious in my brain. I enjoyed the characters. I wasn't super attached to them, and I ended up giving it 4 stars. After finishing that series, I have 2 more series to finish this month to like meet my goal, and I could not find a series. And there was one series that had 1 book left, but it was a very long book, and so I decided to work on the high 5 novellas because 2 of them came out this year, so they are in a different section, and then 3 of them came out previously, and so I had read 1 of them, and so I needed to read 2 more. As a series title might suggest, they're novellas. So the first one was Santa's Coming. They are short, spicy novellas, and it centers around a bar in Wisconsin, and this one is Christmas time. So it's about Emily, who's a single mom, and she goes to like this Christmas night, sits on Santa's lap, and who happens to be the bar owner, and gets his number, and they kind of text back and forth, but because she's a single mom, doesn't have a lot of time or the energy for it, but he just keeps pursuing her. It's 60 some pages. It's really cute. It does end in a spicy scene, which I read the St. Patrick's Day one, and it was very similar to that as well. I thought this was a really fun novella, a wonderful palate cleanser. I enjoyed the puns. I ended up giving it 3.5 stars. From there, I decided I really needed to work on one of the 25 books I want to read in 2025. And so I read Done Being Single, A Late Bloomer's Guide to Love by Treva Branham Scarf. I had not heard of her. Apparently she was very viral around the pandemic, and there is some name dropping in this book, which I am not up on celebrities and musicians and things like that, to be honest with you. And so it was supposed to be impressive. She talks about her life. She didn't get married till she was 51, and so she talks about her life and growing up and some things that possibly contributed to that, but then also some really good positive things that came out of it, and just her different experiences in life. And then a little bit after she got married, because there were some other hard things that happened in her life, very similar times. I am married, and I got married young, and so the tips she gave on dating and things like that didn't apply to me. However, a lot of her life advice I really enjoyed, especially in this year of trying to figure myself out. My husband is wonderful and has definitely encouraged all of this growth. And she talks about how everyone's always still a work in progress, but I think it made me okay with where I am in my journey of like finding myself and things like that. I don't know. So even though this book was not for me, I'm not a single person, I didn't get married later in life, I think this book was for me, and the fact of like how long it took her to find herself and figure things out about herself, I do think that I really related to, and I think I'm gonna give it 3.75 stars. That's where I'm settling on right now. The 4th book I finished was the 2nd book in the High 5 novella series, and that means a series is done. Like I said, there are 2 books that came out this year, but if a book comes out in the year that I'm reading, I count it in a different section of series. Just how my brain works. I'm weird. This one focuses on Valentine's Day, and it's called Cupid's Shot. As I said, these take place in a small town in Wisconsin, and Aaron and Sarah went to high school together, and Aaron had a crush on Sarah. And Aaron now works at the bar that Sarah goes to. So the bar owner asks Aaron if he will dress up as Cupid and take photos. Because the bar owner did it for Christmas in the first book, and he agrees. Sarah comes to the bar, and Sarah ends up getting a secret admirer. Sarah and Aaron have text conversations, and it's just a really sweet novella. It does end up in a spicy scene at the very end, but I thought it was really fun because Sarah had no idea that Aaron liked her in high school. So it's not a second chance, but it is for Aaron in a way. And so I just thought, again, it was a really cute novella. I really enjoyed like the St. Patrick's Day one, which is the 3rd one, the Christmas one, which was the 1st one, and now the Valentine's Day one, which was the 2nd one. So they're all holiday themed, and I ended up giving this one 3.5 stars. With finishing that book, that means I finished up 2 series this week, which means I have 1 series left to go. I don't know if I'm going to make that goal. My other goal is to finish up 2 books off the 25 books I want to read in 2025, and I found another shorter book, and it's Magic, Mystery, in the Multiverse. And it is a young adult adventure where they go to another universe. It's on the shorter side. I am 60 pages in and 30% in, so I don't think this will take me long to read. So I'm hoping I can finish this and then work on a series. I don't have any books that have 1 book left except for, like I said, the one, and I think that's the one I'm honestly gonna go to. And even if I don't finish it within like the month time frame, I'll be in it, and it is the Twisted Anthology by Elizabeth Lem. It's the final book that I have access to in the Twisted Tales. There are 2 Twisted Tales I found out that were published overseas, and I can't seem to find them. I know they exist, but I can't seem to find a way for me to read them, and so I put them on the like series to continue list, but I can't right now. So I'll look into those a little bit later, but I haven't been able to find them. So I'm gonna call this series done for now once I finish it. But this book I think is like 400 pages. This one says 500. 500 pages, and there's like 15 little short stories in there. So it's gonna take quite a bit to read. So I don't think I'm gonna be able to finish this book. So that's why I'm stuck, because all my other series have at least 2 books that I have to finish. I do have a couple series that the books are shorter, but I don't think short enough to read like 3 books in one day, because I have children and life. Anyways, thanks for sticking with me on this update, and I will check in hopefully tomorrow and let you know if I finish the app book and what book I'm reading now. It will probably be the Twisted Tale Anthology though.
I cannot get this camera to go straight to save my life, so it's gonna be a little bit crooked, and I apologize, but I owe you 2 book reviews because I did finish the Marvelous Multiverse app, which is the first book in the Magic, Mystery, and Multiverse series. I won this book in a Goodreads giveaway. It is a young adult adventure book, and it definitely reads like that. We meet Zach and Anna. They are siblings, and they're going to live with their uncle during the pandemic. So that's just an interesting take, because I don't feel like I read a lot of books that take place during that time. But they're going to live with their uncle because Zachary is autoimmune compromised, and they end up using this multiverse app and going to a different universe. And it was a little bit of a Wizard of Oz retelling, in the sense their vehicle lands on someone, which some people are happy are gone and some people are not. So they very much at first have enemies and season supporters. Zachary ends up getting captured, and they just have to find their way through this, and they're trying to understand what is even happening. I thought it was fun, definitely more middle grade, and I'll probably continue the series just to see where it goes. It was a very quick read. It's right around 200 pages. But that means I read 2 books off the 25 books I want to read in 2025 for July, which I'm so excited about. The first book I finished for August was Protecting What's Theirs by Tessa Bailey. This is book 1.5 in the Line of Duty series. I read book 1 such a long time ago that I did like remember who these characters were, because it is police officer Derek and Ginger, who moved into the building with Derek in the first book. And so in this book, they are together, and we see a snip of their life where Derek is dealing with a really heavy topic at work and doesn't necessarily want to share with Ginger. And so Ginger can tell something's wrong, and Ginger gets some news and then doesn't want to share with Derek. And so we see how their relationship weathers through this time, and how the truth comes out, and how they deal with the fallout of that, and the promises and choices they make for moving forward. It was definitely a novella length, so I always rate novellas a little bit lower just because you can't get as much depth with the characters, and I ended up giving it 3.5 stars. We are gonna finish off week 30. Please ignore all the mess. They're in the middle of cleaning that, but I really need to get this filmed because it's already Tuesday afternoon and things are happening in my reading world, and I need to just update you where I was this morning. So we're gonna go over the books that I'm currently reading, and there are 6 of them. So let's close out week 30. The 2 books that are going to be on here forever and ever are the Gratitude Journal and the Bible. I did not make as much progress on either of these this week as I should have, so I did not update my numbers, to be honest. I really need to get back on track. I think I'm a couple days behind on, well, the Bible, and that means I'm also behind the Gratitude Journal. The 3rd book is the Twisted Tale Anthology by Liz Broswell, Jen Kalanita, whatever you want to say. It is a collection of 16 short stories that are basically the Twisted Tales but short versioned, and it's taken me a long time to get through because every short story I feel like I should stop, but that's not the case. And so it's also a 500-page book, so it is a long book. This morning I was 54% of the way through, so I'm really hoping today I can finish it. I have given myself permission to skip stories that I'm not interested in if I've read like the 5 pages of it, because they're only like 20-25 pages. So that is something I'm gonna give myself permission for, because I felt like otherwise I was just kind of skimming it and just getting really bored and frustrated with it. There's that. The audiobook I'm listening to is still Written in My Heart's Own Blood by Diane Gabaldon. I am now 72% of the way through, so I didn't make a ton of progress over this week. As you know, I was working on finishing up the month end things, and then we've just been really busy, so I haven't had a chance to listen to audiobooks. Today I gave myself permission to pause this and listen to The Silver Chair by C.S. Lewis, just to have something different, because I felt like I've been listening to this for a very long time and I like it, it's interesting, but I wanted something different. I feel like between this and the Twisted Tale anthology, I've just been really struggling. And then we have Breaking Free by Beth Moore. Because I'm behind on my Bible, I'm about 15-20% into Breaking Free. So again, didn't make a ton of progress on this because they kind of all go hand in hand. I do them at the same time. So if I forget one, I'm gonna forget them all. The last one is the physical book I started, and it is the third book in the Burnt Boot Texas series, One Texas Cowboy Too Many. And I got 14% into it yesterday. So I think I'm gonna wait and give my thoughts and things on it when I'm further into it. It is the cousin of our mailman character in the last book. He's come to town and he is interested in one of the feuding families, which if you've heard me talk about this series at all, there's a 100-year feud which just gets in the way of romance in the series. So I'm really curious to see if the same thing happens here. Those are the books I'm currently in the middle of, and that closes out week 30. Let me know what you're reading in the comments.